Lily had always been curious. At 12 years old, she had an uncanny ability to sense things others couldn't. Hidden paths, overlooked details, and most importantly, the strange pull of things just out of reach. She had explored every inch of her hometown, from the decrepit library in the heart of town to the dusty old alleys where no one dared go. But nothing could have prepared her for the day she stumbled upon the hidden door. It was a Saturday, and she had been skipping stones at the edge of the lake, as she often did. The clouds hung heavy in the sky, casting an eerie twilight over the water. It wasn't the first time she had ventured near the old mill, but today something felt different. A faint hum vibrated in the air as she walked closer, the strange sensation prickling her skin. That's when she noticed it. A small, intricately carved door embedded in the stone wall of the mill's foundation. The door wasn't there the last time she visited. Of that, she was sure. Curiosity piqued, Lily approached it. Her hand reached for the handle, though she had no idea why she felt compelled to open it. The door creaked open, revealing a dark, narrow corridor that seemed to stretch on forever. She hesitated for a moment, but something about the dim glow coming from within drew her in. Taking a deep breath, she stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind her. She found herself in a world unlike anything she had ever imagined. The air was thick with the scent of spices, rare metals, and something metallic. The faint chatter of voices surrounded her, and Lily's wide eyes darted from one strange stall to the next. This wasn't a normal marketplace. It was something else entirely. A bazaar hidden between dimensions, a secret place where beings from countless worlds traded goods to bazaar to comprehend. There were creatures standing on multiple limbs, others that floated effortlessly in midair, and beings that shimmered in and out of existence. At the far end of the marketplace stood a large, ornate counter where a figure, cloaked in what seemed to be liquid metal, was conversing with an alien that looked like a cross between a jellyfish and an octopus. Lily's heart raced. She had found something no human was meant to see. That's when she felt it, a presence behind her. She turned. A tall, slender figure stood there. Its skin was a deep shade of violet, with translucent wings that flickered like the surface of water disturbed by the wind. Its eyes, deep black pools, stared at her, unblinking. "Curiosity is a dangerous thing, little one," it said, its voice a smooth, melodic hum. The alien, Lily, would later come to know him as Varath. Didn't offer a hand, but he didn't need to. The look in his eyes was enough. It was as if he had been waiting for her, knowing she would come. "I've never seen anything like this before," Lily whispered, her voice filled with awe. "Where am I? What is this place?" Varath tilted his head, the motion fluid and graceful. "This, child, is the bazaar, a place of trade and knowledge between worlds. Few stumble upon it, and fewer still are allowed to remain." Lily's mind raced. She had heard rumors of strange things happening around the world. Disappearances, whispers of otherworldly beings. But she had never imagined they could lead to something like this. "What kind of things are traded here?" she asked, her voice tinged with excitement. Varath's expression remained unreadable. "Anything and everything. Ancient technologies, forbidden knowledge, rare resources, even memories, if you have the right price." Lily's stomach churned. She had heard stories of people trading their memories for things they didn't understand. She had no idea what kind of things these aliens would offer in exchange for something so intangible. "But why me?" she asked, her voice quieter now. "Why did you bring me here?" Varath's eyes narrowed slightly. "You've been chosen to witness what others cannot. To carry a secret with you that could change everything. Lily frowned. What secret? The alien didn't respond immediately. Instead, he beckoned for her to follow him, leading her deeper into the marketplace. As they moved, Lily began to see the true scope of the bazaar. Stalls piled high with oddities from countless worlds, glowing stones that hovered above the ground, books that seemed to write themselves, and strange creatures in jars, pulsating with life. There was no logical order to the place, no signposts or clear paths. It was a chaotic labyrinth of alien influence. They stopped at one such stall, where an old wiry creature with scales that shimmered like liquid silver was offering something to a large, hulking alien creature. Verath leaned in close to Lily, his voice a low whisper. There are whispers among the traders, a secret hidden even from the higher powers of the bazaar. The one who controls the trade of knowledge can rewrite the laws of the universe. Lily's eyes widened. What do you mean? What kind of knowledge? Verath's eyes flickered briefly, almost as though he were considering the consequences of his next words. The knowledge of reality itself. The ability to manipulate time, space, and life. And it's closer than you think. Before Lily could ask more, the creature in front of them turned, noticing her presence for the first time. It had the appearance of an ancient, gnarled tree, its bark-like skin covered in intricate markings that seemed to shift with the light. "You are not supposed to be here," the tree-like being said, its voice deep and resonant. The air in the bazaar seemed to grow thick, the voices of traders and creatures around them fading as Lily felt the weight of the situation press on her chest. The tree-like being's words hung in the air like a warning. "I didn't mean to intrude," Lily said, her voice small, unsure. Verath's expression hardened, his dark eyes never leaving the creature. "She is not of this world," he said. "She has stumbled upon this place by accident, and yet there is something different about her." The tree-like alien tilted its head, its eyes narrowing. "You think you can protect her, Verath? She doesn't belong here." Lily's confusion deepened. "What's going on? What do you mean, I don't belong here?" Verath's gaze softened slightly, though there was an edge to his words. "You, child, are more than just a visitor. You are a key." Lily felt a shiver run down her spine. "A key to what?" "The knowledge," Verath replied. "The bazaar doesn't just trade goods. It trades in the fabric of reality itself. And you have something that can change the balance. You have a connection to the cosmic information stored within this place." Lily felt her pulse quicken. "I don't understand. I'm just a normal girl. I don't have any special powers." Verath's lips curled into a faint smile. "You may think you're ordinary, but the truth is, your mind has the potential to access hidden truths. Truths about the universe, about time and space." At that moment, the creature before them spoke again. "Enough talking, the girl must leave." Verath's wings flickered with agitation. "She is not going anywhere," he snapped. "Not without the information she's destined to uncover." Lily's mind swirled with questions, but she knew one thing for certain. She couldn't back out now. She was already in too deep. Lily followed Verath further into the depths of the bazaar, her mind racing with the revelation that she was somehow tied to something greater, something beyond her comprehension. As they walked, Verath explained in more detail. The bazaar, he said, was more than just a marketplace. It was a conduit between different universes, a network of secrets and forbidden knowledge. Aliens came from far-flung galaxies to trade in the most dangerous and mysterious goods, from ancient relics of dead civilizations to the very essence of life itself. But there was one thing that was considered the most valuable: The cosmic network. It was a collection of information so vast, so all-encompassing, that it could rewrite the very fabric of reality. It held the key to understanding the origins of the universe, the fate of all life, and the true power behind the existence of time and space. And Lily had somehow unlocked access to it. She couldn't explain how. It didn't make sense. But Verath was certain. Her mind had already tapped into the network, making her a potential player in a cosmic game much larger than herself. You have the potential to shape the future, Verath told her as they moved through the market. But there are those who would do anything to control this power. Lily couldn't process it all. She was just a girl who liked to explore, who had somehow stumbled into a world beyond her understanding. And now, she was holding the key to something that could change everything. But what would she do with it? The question gnawed at her as they continued deeper into the bazaar. Lily's mind was overwhelmed by the possibilities that lay ahead. She had never asked for any of this. All she wanted was a little adventure. Now, she was caught in the middle of a cosmic struggle for control over a power she didn't fully understand. As they approached a large, shadowy stall at the far end of the bazaar, Verath's expression became more serious. The alien trader standing behind the counter was a silent figure, its features hidden beneath layers of dark robes. "This is the one," Verath said, motioning toward Lily. The trader lifted its head, revealing glowing eyes that seemed to pierce through Lily's very soul. It studied her for a long moment, then spoke in a voice that sent a shiver down her spine. "You have unlocked the network," it said, its voice low and haunting. "And now, the price must be paid." Lily's heart raced. "Price? What do you mean? I didn't ask for this. I don't want anything from the network." The trader's eyes glowed brighter. "Everything comes at a cost. To gain access to the cosmic network is to invite the attention of those who control it. They will stop at nothing to possess it, and they will come for you." Varath stepped forward, his voice firm. "We need to protect her." The trader's eyes flickered with amusement. "Protection from the ones who can change reality itself. You think she is safe?" Lily's world felt like it was closing in on her, the weight of the decision heavy on her shoulders. Would she continue to explore this new reality, knowing the danger it brought? Or would she try to walk away, leaving behind the secrets that could destroy her or save her? Lily felt a chill run down her spine as the trader's glowing eyes seemed to pierce through her very thoughts. The weight of their conversation settled in her chest, but she could still hear the sound of bustling trade around them. It was as if the entire bazaar continued on, indifferent to the revelation that her fate was now tied to a cosmic network that had been hidden from the universe for eons. The trader's voice echoed in her mind. "Everything comes at a price." Varath stepped closer to her, his violet skin shimmering slightly as though absorbing the light around them. "Don't listen to them," he said, though his voice held a hint of uncertainty. "You are not meant to carry this burden alone." Lily looked at him, unsure of what to say. She had only met Verath in this bizarre marketplace, yet there was a strange familiarity about him, as if, in some way, their fates were always meant to intertwine. But the trader, this dark figure who had just whispered words of doom in her ear, was not something she could simply ignore. "What happens if I don't pay the price?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. The trader let out a soft chuckle, like the rustling of dead leaves. "The network is not a gift, it's a test of will, of power, and of sacrifice. If you are found wanting, it will cast you out, and all you will have left is the memory of what you could have been." The weight of those words pressed against her mind, and Lily felt a rising sense of dread that she couldn't shake. She wasn't sure if the network was something she should even want to understand. The price sounded too steep, the consequences too dire, and yet the temptation lingered. Varath placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, his gaze steady. There is a way to protect yourself, to ensure that you can keep your mind intact. Lily looked up at him, her confusion growing. How? The network requires a keeper, Varath explained. Someone who understands its depths, someone who can wield the knowledge it contains without losing themselves to its power. Lily nodded slowly, but her heart was heavy. A keeper, that was more responsibility than any 12-year-old should bear. Her mind raced with the possibilities. She could turn her back on this world. She could leave the bazaar behind and return to the normal world she knew. But what if this was her only chance to protect the human race, to ensure they weren't swept into this cosmic game? Suddenly, the stall seemed to grow darker. The space around her began to stretch and warp, like the very fabric of the bazaar was bending under pressure. The walls flickered with strange symbols, and the voices around them became muffled, as if they were underwater. I see it in you, the trader hissed. The connection, the power. Varath stepped forward, his wings flaring, his body tense. You have no right to manipulate her. The trader smirked, the space around them contorting further. You don't understand, Varath. She's already part of the network. The choice is hers, to embrace it or to succumb to the emptiness of what could have been. Before Lily could respond, a burst of light exploded in front of her. Her vision blurred, and she staggered back as the world around her twisted violently. The shapes of creatures in the market began to stretch and distort, as though the very laws of physics were being rewritten. In the chaos, Lily could hear Varath's voice. Focus, Lily. Don't let it take hold of you. A deep breath. Another. The world slowed. The light was no longer blinding, and the bazaar returned to its twisted reality. But this time, Lily could feel it. The power, it thrummed in the air, surging through her veins, as if the knowledge of the universe was opening up before her. The symbols flashed in her mind, every thread of the network weaving together in a grand tapestry of infinite information. She felt connected to everything. The stars, the planets, the endless expanse of space. It was a knowledge beyond comprehension, and yet it was now hers to command. But there was a price. The trader had warned her, and deep within her, she could feel the weight of that cost beginning to settle in her soul. The energy coursed through Lily's body, overwhelming her senses. Every whisper of the bazaar, every flicker of alien life around her felt like it was threading into her mind, feeding her with information, secrets, and power she had no right to wield. It was intoxicating. She could feel her grip on reality slipping, every thought, every decision blurred by the cosmic knowledge pouring into her. But amidst this rising tide of information, a single, clear thought struck her with force. What if I am not ready? Focus, Lily, fight it. Varath's voice cut through the storm of thoughts clouding her mind. His presence anchored her, a tether to the physical world. She could hear his wings fluttering beside her, see his violet eyes glowing with concern. But as much as she wanted to listen, as much as she wanted to hold onto the fragments of her normal life, the knowledge continued to swirl within her like a storm of endless stars. Don't you see? The trader's voice echoed through the chaos, growing louder. You've already seen it. You've already tasted the power. You are part of the network now. The weight of his words hung over her, and Lily realized that the choice she had feared was now at hand. She wasn't just caught in the web of the bazaar. She had become an integral part of it. If she took the next step, if she embraced the network, she would be forever changed. Her humanity lost in a flood of knowledge and power. But if she chose to walk away, to sever the connection. The knowledge could destroy her, erasing everything she had come to know and love. Vareth's voice became more urgent. Don't let it consume you. You are still a child. You are still a human. Lily's chest tightened as she fought to hold onto herself. But I could do so much. I could save everyone. The trader's laughter echoed in her mind, deep and mocking. You would not be saving anyone. You would be rewriting the very nature of existence, and all you would leave behind is a void. Her fingers twitched as if they were no longer her own. She felt herself being pulled in two directions. The choice before her was more than just a decision about power. It was about what it meant to be human. It was about the fragility of her existence, and whether she could bear the weight of the secrets she now held. With every passing second, the decision became clearer. She could feel it. She wasn't just a visitor anymore. She was part of something much larger than herself. Make your choice, Lily, the trader urged, its voice now a distant, haunting echo. The bazaar was in chaos. What had been a vibrant marketplace only moments ago was now a swirling vortex of shifting colors, swirling lights, and distorted shapes. The very air seemed to crackle with the energy of the network, which had found a conduit in Lily. Vareth's voice came to her again, urgent and pleading. Don't do it, Lily. You're still human. You don't need to take this power. But she could feel it. The power was too strong now, pulsing through her veins, urging her forward. Every fiber of her being screamed for her to embrace it, to accept the network as her own. She could feel the vastness of the universe unraveling within her mind, and in that moment, she understood. She understood the true nature of the cosmos, the delicate dance of time and space, and the invisible threads that bound all life together. And with that understanding came a crushing realization. She could reshape reality itself. She could manipulate the very laws of the universe. The power was hers for the taking. The trader was no longer in front of her, but the bazaar remained. Its stalls flickered and twisted in the distance, as though the very essence of the place was being rewritten. Lily's hands trembled as she reached out, touching the threads of the network. The air hummed with energy, and she could feel herself becoming one with it. Her decision was made, but at what cost? The universe seemed to hold its breath as Lily embraced the power of the network. The bazaar trembled, as if acknowledging the shift in the balance of the cosmos. She could feel the gaze of countless beings upon her, their eyes fixed on the one human who had dared to control the secrets of the universe. For a brief moment, Lily believed she could save everything. She could fix the broken parts of the universe, undo the wrongs, and reshape the future. It was within her grasp, but there was one thing she didn't fully understand until it was too late. The network demanded more than just knowledge. It demanded sacrifice. The moment she tapped into its vast, cosmic wisdom, it began to consume her humanity, altering her very essence. Her skin began to shimmer faintly, her eyes flickering with otherworldly light. The change was subtle at first, but it was undeniable. She was becoming something else, something beyond human. And then, the emptiness came. It was not a physical void, but an emotional one. A loss of self. The more she accessed the network, the more she realized that her connection to the human world was slipping away. The power she had craved so desperately was taking its toll, and Lily knew she was teetering on the edge of losing everything she had ever known. Vareth, who had watched her from a distance, moved quickly toward her. His eyes were wide with fear. "You're changing, Lily," he said, his voice heavy with concern. "You're losing yourself." Lily could hear his words, but they seemed distant, like the final echoes of something fading from her memory. "I can't stop it," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I don't know how." The power of the network surged within her again, and for a moment, Lily felt as if she were drowning in a sea of infinite knowledge. She had made her choice. But was it worth the cost? Lily stood motionless as the energy coursed through her, feeling like it was both tearing her apart and making her whole. The once vibrant bazaar now seemed a distant memory, fading as her senses expanded into the cosmos itself. The stars, the planets, the very fabric of time and space were no longer separate from her. They were her. She had become the very thing she had once feared and revered. A being intertwined with the network, the keeper of infinite secrets. But with the weight of this immense knowledge came a sudden, bone-crushing emptiness. The power that once felt like a gift now seemed like a slow and inevitable decay. She could see the universe, see it all unraveling before her eyes, but it was all a blur. An endless cascade of existence collapsing into something she could not understand. It was no longer a source of awe, but a burden. Vareth's voice cracked through the void. "Lily, Lily, listen to me." His words barely reached her as the flood of knowledge surged to a crescendo. She could see entire civilizations flashing before her eyes. Their rise, their fall, the endless dance of time. She was watching everything and nothing all at once. Her humanity was slipping through her fingers like sand. "I don't want this," Lily whispered, her voice trembling, as though the words themselves were being ripped from her. Varath moved closer, his face filled with anguish. "You can still return. You just have to focus. You're human." You have to remember that Lily could feel the power of the network tugging her deeper, dragging her into the depths of its infinite expanse. It was a silent war now, a battle between who she had been and what she was becoming. The price for wielding such knowledge was clear. It was her identity, her connection to the world she had known. She was becoming something else, something unrecognizable. Her fingers trembled as she reached out, but this time she didn't reach for the network. She reached for herself. She focused on her memories, the simple joy of walking down the street with her mother, the laughter of her friends at school, the taste of her favorite ice cream, the things that made her human. But they felt so distant now. Her mind was a whirlwind of stars and light, and yet the weight of the infinite knowledge she had absorbed kept pulling her under. Then, just as she thought she would lose herself entirely, something flickered. A tiny spark of clarity, a sliver of her humanity fighting to break through. Varath reached for her, his hands trembling as he held her tight. "You have to fight, Lily. You are stronger than this." And for the briefest moment, she felt his touch anchor her. The flicker of her old life came rushing back, and with it, a surge of resistance. She had to pull herself back. She had to protect the part of her that was human. "Please," she whispered, "help me." The moment was a fragile one, like a breath held too long. The energy that had consumed her began to recede, ever so slightly. The swirling patterns of the bazaar, the infinite stars, and the vastness of the universe started to fade, replaced by the reality of the moment. She was still here, still herself. Vareth smiled, though his eyes were filled with sorrow. "You've done it, Lily. You've remembered." But as she looked around, she realized something that would haunt her forever. The bazaar, the network, the power, they would always be with her. The knowledge she had accessed could never truly be erased. It was part of her now, an eternal imprint on her mind. "Then what happens now?" she asked softly, her voice breaking. Varath didn't answer immediately. He looked around at the shattered marketplace, the chaos that surrounded them, and then back at her. "Now, you must decide what to do with it." The network will always be here. It will always call to you. But you are human. You are free to choose. Lily stood silently, her mind still reeling, the power still thrumming beneath her skin. She could still feel it, the allure of the infinite. But in that moment, she understood something important. While knowledge had the power to shape the universe, it was humanity's heart, its will to live and love, that gave it meaning. She turned away from the twisted stalls of the bazaar, the alien traders still in disarray, and walked out into the unknown. She didn't know what awaited her, but for the first time in what felt like an eternity, Lily knew that she could decide. The power was hers to control, not the other way around. And with that, she stepped into the vast unknown. The cost of knowledge etched into her soul, but her humanity still intact. And as the last rays of the bazaar faded behind her, she understood. The universe was hers to shape. But it was still her heart that would guide her through it.